Hola tribe. Welcome to the House of Kai. So today is our medicine oracle read, and let's see what we got. Let's see what we got today. Ooh, that was interesting. So, I pray you are wonderful. It is a absolutely gorgeous day here today. It's so nice. I know there are people all over the world. Temperatures are just, they are what they are, right? Depending on the region to which you live in. And I live in a region that is predominantly warm. So blessed, like beyond blessed. I love my roots. I love where I come from. Yet I will admit that having made the move to a warmer climate was nourished my soul. It nourished my soul on a level I didn't even know I was lacking. So, so grateful. So grateful. So I pray that wherever you are, your soul is nourished. That you are in the exact region and geography, I think would be the word I'm looking for, that serves you. You know, some people require mountains. Some people require a body of water. Some people, like flat and they like desert. Everyone's spirit requires a different vibration and energy that serves them best. And there are elements where I live that are just unbelievable to serving of my spirit. I know there are next levels that I would look towards. However, I am exactly where I need to be. So, let's see. Ooh. So lately, as I've been shuffling, the deck of cards has told me to stop shuffling, and that's the card I'm looking at. And so, very different. And today is 25. Aloha ke akua. I hope I pronounced that right. Aloha ki akua. Blessings of a supreme being. Wow. Coming into union of self. Being present with our heart, allowing the womb, the belly. We all have a womb, whether we're male or female. There is a space within our being that is a space of creation. So even if the masculine doesn't believe that they themselves have a place of creation, they do. Internal as well. They think their creation is all external, and it's not. We have shifted that energy within our beings. I'd say guesstimated somewhere in the last millennia, right? That which was the original formation of creation no longer exists. We've expanded. We've evolved. Creation has evolved to such a level that, it's magical. It's literally magical of what we are capable of doing now. And as we come into the balance yin and yang, and the representation here of the sun and the moon, and notice the hands, right? So she has one is channeling from above and one channeling from below. We have a balance here of this yin and yang energy, and she is the center, right? So she's manifesting from the womb of creation and expanding through her heart. So what a beautiful, beautiful blessings to be bestowed upon us right out the gate, right? Just right out the gate. And so welcome to our medicine of the day. Blessings bestowed upon us. Let's see where we are led to. How beautiful is that? And so how do we come into a more balanced state? Well, you will always hear me say breath work. You'll always hear me say breath work. I find it so interesting. I work with some of the most highly attuned beings, extremely conscious. And I always have. I've been very blessed that I have worked with some of the most conscious, evolved beings that are out there, you know. As far as evolution. And every last one of them, I think it's the funniest, is that they all like, oh, this breath thing. This thing is tough. Okay, do we have to do the breath thing? I'm evolved in that too. I totally, like, as much as I communicate breath work, and I'm well versed and well trained in it, I resist it too. It's effort, it's work, you know, and to stay that present with ourselves, it's a lot. So I say this, and yeah, it's a medicine I'll be bringing more forward. I am getting the calling. I've said it recently in another video. I'm just getting all my ducks placed in a row properly, and they're probably not going to be in the greatest of rows, but they're just going to be moving me forward. I am one of those people that if we move forward and we don't leave space for new opportunities into creation, then we could miss things. So, excuse me, as I get my ducks in a row and get organized, I will do my best to have the fluidity necessary, but I will be offering more breath work with people. And so to me, it's extreme vulnerability. And so balancing the yin and yang. So there are different forms of breath work that can be utilized, but honestly, the best way to do anything is central, right? You could breathe all this masculine energy or breathe all this feminine energy, or just breathe up or just breathe down. I mean, there's so many ways. I would say breathe central, right? I will forever tell you that your center spine, your center column, is exactly that. It's a column from the crown of your head to the tailbone. And that tailbone extends into the earth. So most people, when they think root chakra, they stop at their lower pelvis or their tailbone itself. You want to think all the way beyond the arches of your feet, all the way into the earth itself. And so can you breathe a breath, your whole center column, right, where your physical form and tissue just expand around it, right? Can we breathe a breath that allows our center column to be exactly that, a center column? And what I find is oftentimes there's like a hiccup or a speed bump in our breath. And so our job is to not avoid that speed bump. It's in fact to breathe in such a way that removes the speed bump. So to smooth it out, right? So expand the breath even more, change the pace of the breath, maybe make some sounds, grunt and groan, or adjust your body. Do whatever it is you need to do to create that center column of breath. And then just claim that center column for as long as you choose to. You know, a minimum 3 breaths, we'll say. Okay, so I know that when I talk about breath work, we're like it's work. It is work. Yet we don't have to make it like so crazy that we resist it completely. Keep it simple. Claim the center column of your being, smooth out the breath itself, and then just own it for as many breaths that you're capable of owning it for. And the more we reprogram that part of our being, the easier it'll be, the less you'll have to do that level of effort of work. The center column will be effortless to obtain, and then breathing the center column for 3, 10, 20, 100 breaths in a row will be effortless. And so breathing one's center column will literally start to balance out that masculine and feminine energies, the left and right hemispheres of the brain that are required for this pure integration that we're moving through. And again, we are the creators. We are the creators of this. And so allowing ourselves to step into this new platform yeah, this new world that we're in, this new earth. I apologize. I don't like to say new world, new earth that we are stepping into. And so let me see if that's really the card they're telling me to pick here. It didn't feel right. But I will, excuse me, check this again. And so, yeah. Maybe it was right. Maybe my ego was in the way, and I'll just tell you what it was. But that's so funny. So I'm going to go with it was right, actually. Isn't that interesting? So because the card they're having me pull is saying friction, and the card that I originally had pulled is moderation. So I just found that. And so when I stopped, I went, moderation? Why moderation, right? We should be working, because I'm an Aries, and that's what I think. And that's my ego for you. That we should always do more, right? And then of course I go to that flip side of that. I've never done enough, right? No matter how hard I work on a spiritual plane, I've never done enough, right? So here's the balance of it, which is what we're looking for, is doing it in moderation, right? So yes, do the work, but yes, have fun. We can have fun and still do the work, right? And so that tells me, like, when I resisted to pull this card, the card they actually brought up for me was now friction, right? So being in resistance to moderation. Go figure, that would make sense to me. That would make absolute sense that me personally would be in friction to moderation. So I apologize, but not. It's good for you to see and hear the exposure, and this might be all part of your experience too. So when we resist the moderation, right? So as I said to you, like, own the breath 3 times. Find that center column of breath and then own it for just 3 breaths. Own it for 3 breaths. Consciously own it for 3 breaths. That's work. That's a lot of work. So can you do that? Can you actually consciously own that breath for 3 breaths, 10 breaths? What can you do? And then just let that be. Don't judge it. Don't go beyond that. Just simply own that new space. But get to the place of ownership, right? So what happens is we breathe a few breaths and we feel that resistance and then we run from it. No, get through the barriers of resistance to claim that space and then own that space. That's the key. And so once we get there, and then I'm going to go with, that's moving past the friction, right? Moderation is the key to everything, so we can move past the friction. Otherwise, we're going to meet friction. If we ourselves do not claim this at a level of pace and moderation, we will meet the friction and resistance to it and limit our experience. So being present with it in a level of moderation. Wow, that's beautiful. Very happy that happened. When I look at this, I'm like, this is, I'll tell you, when I meet those blockages in my being, this is the feeling I feel, like looking in the face of this being, and the colors are beautiful and wild, but I definitely feel this, like, this push-pull energy taking place in this image. And so that is what I find when I first try to clear my center column. So when I go into my center column breath and I feel my resistance internally, there is a friction taking place. And in order to break through it, I must be present with it, expand upon it, be gentle, and not run from it. It's so easy for us to meet friction and then run from it. So as long as we're claiming it in the doses that are required, the moderation, right, then it's fine. It's I don't want to say fine. It's in balance, right? So finding that center column, so we ourselves can come into a more state of balance. and receive. That really is what it's about, is the receptivity of what's happening around us. There is so much love. There is so much love, and there are so many of us who are just so frightened of drinking it in. And realizing that there are so many versions of love that, most people place upon this, sexual intimacy love as the most important, or the love of a child. I look at universal love. I look at, now if you look at those who are more in the elderly community, right? So those that we'll say are not really participating in the sexual intimacy love. They may have lost a partner and they've been by themselves for a long time. Those beings that love from that platform, it's that agape, it's that unlimited amounts of love. And it's not looked at as weird, right? When you see like a grandmother or something who's, has no husband anymore and she's just loving everybody that she's loving. And I'm, of course, thinking of my mother right now because that's my mom. She's amazing. My mama is amazing. She just holds down that agape love like no else. I love it. People don't look at that as weird. You know what I mean? People look at her as like, wow, what a loving being. I would love to be her child or her grandchild, And that's how most people see my mama. And they don't look at it like she's loving me so she can gain access sexually to me, right? Well, that's just our human ego thinking that. It doesn't have to be based on an age thing. Why can we not just simply love without growing onto that attachment of needing that, right? So I think that's a big thing as we move forward. I think that's a primary issue why we're so afraid to love. People are so afraid to love because they're thinking that it comes with some level of attachment to an end result of this person wanting sex or intimacy or relationship or something. And why can't we just simply love? Right? So when I show up in a scenario just simply loving people, I witness all sorts of responses to it. And it can be a struggle, choosing to love from a place of agape, that everyone is worthy of love, and not seeking or requiring an intimate partner. To fulfill that and just love. It's amazing to watch as people will resist it, or their egos will get triggered because they're receiving love and they actually think that that's the goal in mind by this person. So allowing ourselves to come into a more place of balanced and harmony and unified breath within ourselves so that we are capable of sharing that agape love with everyone. So special. And so as that comes up, the card that has been chosen is healing. Healing. What a beautiful place to be. Allowing the powerful, supreme energy of love to move through us in moderation, without attachments. It's a place of healing, right? No need for us to go beyond that which it is. Just simply love. Simply loving. Oh my goodness. And I need to go back to this image because she's so amazing. Oh, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. Ooh. Excuse me. Thank you. So allowing ourselves to come back to her, right? Look at her. She's so amazing. Just this beautiful mama, grandma energy, just loving and nurturing all beings. Like, who wouldn't want that in their lives? Who wouldn't want more of that in their lives, right? So, let's see. Yeah. And so as I'm cutting decks and flipping, I just saw the word awakening, and I'm going, yep, that's where we're at. We're in the awakening. We are so in the awakening. I will forever say that I am, well, I mean, I will admit that I am biased saying this. I can't deny that I'm not biased, but and I am the most blessed human being in the world. I have no other way of explaining it. My soul feels a blessing bestowed upon me that I just can't even explain. And I choose to cherish and honor that. And sometimes it's scary, and sometimes I don't know how to. Like, I don't actually know what my next moves are, because it's so, the world is so big, right? Like, how do I share my blessings with so many people? How do I get that out there, that love out there, and be received? And so I'm just laughing as my door is open, and I'm allowing as I said earlier, it's just such a beautiful day, so my door is open and getting like this fresh air into the house and the sunshine. And now I'm hearing all like the saws going off and stuff. I don't know if you can hear all that. Yeah. I just heard cutting through the bullshit. That's how I get the message out there. That's how I allow the blessings that are within me to be gifted to everyone else, right? Cut through the bullshit, right? And so, we're gonna go with this one. We're gonna go with this card. But I am hearing there's another card to look at. There's another card as well. So let me continue the shuffle here and see what we got. So how do we receive these gifts of bestowed love coming in from us? I mean, just highest levels of vibration coming in to be received is to purify this being, right? Because when I am giving love to somebody or somebody's giving love to me, we all come up against this resistance, and that resistance is a fear of some sort of trauma that we have experienced in this life. Forgive me, I will forever talk about past lifetimes. If you do not believe in past lifetimes, then just wash it. It doesn't matter, because it's still taking place in this lifetime. My perception of it is that if we didn't clear it from past lifetimes, then we put it into this physical tissue to learn it in this lifetime. So you've already recreated the energy, whether you're conscious of it or not, right? So I know for myself, I have had energies clear from my being that I had no real connection point in this lifetime of when such a dramatic blockage would have been created. What I experienced in this lifetime seemed like such a fragment of how dramatic the emotional body stored the information and data, where I will have flashes of past lifetimes of where that was created then, and so take it all with a grain of salt. Even if that's a lie, okay? Even if that's a lie, and that there is no past lifetime, and my brain is creating a picture telling me that the emotional experience that I'm having is in resonance to this perceived vision that I'm seeing, then let it be that, because that is how great of an energy my ego or my experience seemed to me. So even if the fragment, excuse me, even if the fragment of what what I experienced in this lifetime, right? Even the tiny little fragment of that trauma I experienced in this lifetime created such an emotional response in my being that I stored that much crap, right? Then honor the fact that whatever story comes up for you that's just how dramatic it was to your soul, okay? It's how dramatic it was to your soul. I could put 100 people in front of you and tell you stories about all of these people, and some of their stories aren't even going to faze you because it doesn't even hold a candle to the level of trauma that you've been through. And then other stories, you're going to be like, are you effing kidding me? That's your trauma? And so everyone's soul would be impacted differently based off of their experiences. So whatever your experience and resistance is, don't judge it. That's the leading cause and issue of the unhealed being, right? So it's just be present with it. Like, oh, okay, so why am I experiencing this much emotion? Well, who cares? Just experience it, get rid of it. Allow the brain to tell you stories of when it may have happened on whatever timeline, time, space, reality that exists. And then bring peace to it. That's it, bring peace to it, so that you can free yourself of the burden of carrying it, right? And in order to receive more love, that's what we must do. That's, these vessels want to receive love, and in order for us to receive that love, we need to empty them out. We need to empty them out. And so the two cards that came up, right, is intention and ebb and flow. Right? And again, look at this. We have like the sun and the moon here, this beautiful mermaid goddess going on, right? That's life. It's ebb and flow. That's breath. That's ebb and flow. That's how love moves through. I literally think of the energy is like an infinity symbol that moves in between us. So the ebb and flow. So an inhale and an exhale. So as I'm exhaling, they're inhaling, and as they're inhaling, I'm exhaling, and we just keep dancing this dance. And when you allow yourself to be in that space of the give and take, right, then we are capable of being present with how the dance is being played out between these two balls of energy, right? That's all we are, is balls of energy. So allowing ourselves that level of presence is really the key to sharing more love and opening ourselves and our channels up to more loving experiences, right? And so the bottom line is, what is the intention in your heart, right? So if the intention in your heart is to continually stay closed off and the world is against you, then that's what you're going to get more of, right? So if your intention is to love all sentient beings, regardless of their form and status or belief systems, then I would say you're going to create more love, right? Can we love all sentient beings? All of them? No matter what? I'll go to that image of like trees, right? I think it's so funny that the trees that we find ourselves gravitating towards tend to be the oddest ones, or the most unique ones, right? The ones that grew around rocks, or the ones that reshape themselves to reach for the sun, or the ones that, are grown into another tree, or, whatever that might be. Those are the trees that we're like, whoa, did you see that? Like, how insane or how powerful is that? And when we see that in a human being, people tend to judge it, right? I'll forever go back to some of my cerebral palsy clients where they just go, why do people look at me like that? Can we see ourselves in all other beings and love them anyway? And love them even more? Can you see that this other soul is having a life experience so that you don't have to have it? Right? So when I think of somebody with cerebral palsy, like this being who, now not all cerebral palsy people are in the same situation, but the ones that I've predominantly worked with are pretty much wheelchair bound, right, and limited. And so when you look at somebody in that situation, can you see and respect and love the fact that this person is playing out an aspect of soul, like we are a universal soul, right? We're all fragments of the same soul. So this being is playing out a role of the soul that you didn't have to take on. Honor it, love them. And if you were in that situation, what is it you need? What medicine would you need, right? Medicine to me is a purified energy that we can send out and give. So, what is the medicine for all people? So as we step into this and as we start to receive, because that's what we're doing here, we're getting our vessels ready to receive. So set your intentions, What is it you wish for? Be ready for this ebb and flow to transpire, because that's what's taking place here, this breath of ebb and flow. Releasing ourselves from the friction, and doing it in moderation, guys. Like, don't worry about how fast we go, right? You're in the driver's seat here, so don't worry about how fast we drive. Just drive, just move, and be present. I think recently I had a video about taking each step slowly, right? And just trusting the footing underneath us. Yeah, that's okay. It's scary. We're all afraid here. We're all, have fear. But trusting in your breath and keep clearing the channels of your breathing pattern so that you can receive the ebb and flow. Right? Cool. Thanks for sharing time with me again today, guys. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave comments. I would love to hear your stories. And I'm looking for questions. I love the Dear Kai stuff, so what you got? Right? What's going on in your world? Universal questions, relationship questions, body questions, breathing, energy, any of it. Ask questions. I would love to hear what you have and send out some videos on that, all right? All right, I love you guys. Mwah. Peace out, tribe.